Hey everyone, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda and I create lifestyle, entrepreneurship, and some pop culture content on this YouTube channel. And I hope you guys stick around, join the fam, and join the squad. We would love to have you here. Again, do not mind my dog's dog water bowl in the back. I'm literally lazy and do not want to get up and move it. But I'm super excited about this video. If you guys know me or know this channel at all, I've been a fan of Madison's and a supporter of Madison's for countless amount of years. At this point, like in my heart, she's my friend. Reciprocated, I don't know, but in my heart, she is a dear friend, and I'm really excited about this video. I feel like she is such a she is a person who is very often misunderstood, misinterpreted, and just seen as a pretty face and nothing else. And from getting to know her over the past few years on a more personal level, I've been able to see a side of her that a lot of people just don't care to understand or care to know or care to discover. And I think she was one of the kindest, genuine, purest souls I've ever had the chance of getting to know. Every time I'm with her, I just feel like I'm in a safe space and like someone is actually listening to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she just gives off such beautiful energy and beautiful, she has a great aura. If you guys believe in that and stuff, like I just think she is a precious human being who deserves to have her story told and deserves to have people listen or read her story. And I feel like she has been through so much in her lifetime and so much pain. And I feel like she's also a person who just kind of like myself is very empathetic towards other people and is a people pleaser in a way and just wants everyone to be happy, even if it sacrifices their own happiness at times, which is something I need to work on. But yeah, anyways, that's who she is to me. She's a very special person, and I hope everyone else gets to know that about her and stuff through her book. So she released a memoir at the age of 24, and a lot of people have been like, why a memoir at 24? Like, who the heck does she think she is? Well, clearly, if you're one of those people, you have not read the book, and I urge you to read it before you make assumptions and you make comments. But she wrote a memoir about the stuff she's been through basically from the age of 12 when she was discovered by Justin Bieber. And she spoke about things that happen in the industry that many people don't talk about and I think have to have light shed upon. And she speaks about numerous things. So we're going to have a trigger warning here. She speaks about sexual assault. She speaks about suicide attempts, being addicted to Xanax, like all these things she experienced at such a young age. She's been through so much in the past decade that a memoir is literally like, it makes fucking sense. And if you don't think it makes sense, then you could just leave. But yeah, she speaks about so much in this book, and it was a really honestly hard read for me, for someone who like has been following, like has been along her journey with her. A lot of the stuff in this book, like I didn't even know happened and was happening, and it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I'm like, oh, like I was there during this and like I didn't know any of this was happening, and it makes me sad for her, and it makes me just sad in general. But I'm so happy and proud of her for opening up and sharing her story, because I know it's not fucking easy to be vulnerable, especially when you have a platform like hers where there's going to be so many eyes on you judging everything that you're saying and judging everything you're putting out there. So I commend her for her bravery and vulnerability with it. So anyways, the book is called The Half of It by Madison Beer, of course. I have like 2 copies right now and I have 2 other ones coming. So I annotated the shit out of this one. I have like so many post-its that I want to go through because I really want this to be well done, and I really want to hit every point I want to hit. I highlighted some quotes that I thought really stood out to me, and I think we're just gonna dive into it. So, The Half of It by Madison Beer. So this is like a review slash like discussion, in case I didn't say that already. So if you've already read it, feel free to watch. If you didn't read it, maybe if you don't want to have spoilers, read it and then come back. But there's 15 chapters. There's the first one, that's the half of it. Second is Smoke and Mirrors. Third is The Man Behind the Curtain. Fourth, If the Shoe Fits. 5, Mob Mentality. 6, It's Not Me, It's You. 7, Blessing in Disguise. 8, Inner Child. 9, High Tide. 10, Work in Progress. 11, The Road Not Taken. 12, Glass Houses. 13, The Greener Grass. 14, Drink Me. 15, Everything Happens for a Reason. And she also has journal prompts within the book, which is my favorite thing ever. If you know me, you know I love me a good journal prompt. So we're just gonna dive in. So in the second chapter, she writes, I was young enough that it was smart to keep the darker side of the industry hidden from me, but this meant that it was easier for me to fall in love with the lifestyle when all I was exposed to were the shiny, instantly gratifying positives. I spent my trips to LA on overdrive, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then I'd fly back home and sit in my living room in New York and feel like I didn't know what to do with myself. It always took a few days for me to adjust to being back home again, to decompress from the excitement running through my veins. I feel like for myself, as someone who grew up and still lives in Montreal, Canada, LA is like the dream. It's like you hear about it all the time. If you want to work in the industry, if you want to work in entertainment, like it's LA, like LA, LA, LA. And I feel like a lot of my friends who have done the move to LA always tell me that it sucks and it's not like it is in the movies. It's not like it is glamorized online. People suck, people use you, people literally are shit. Like it's a competition there. And for her to be thrown into that at 12 and so many other child actors, child singers, child people in the, like kids in the entertainment world to be thrown into that and only know that side and like fall in love with a glamorized world and a glamorized place and then to see it unravel in front of you at such a young age is kind of heartbreaking because you're like, wow, like this is not what I thought it was. And so many people have been telling me that. So I thought that really stuck out to me. Then in chapter 3, The Man Behind the Curtain, I highlighted something. I was given a mold and told to squeeze myself into it. That kind of made me sad because when she was that young, I was obviously watching her and I was like, oh my God, like I love this. Like she's so fun and everything. And to like read it now and like think about the fact that the person they were trying to make her be was exactly like the opposite of who she was makes me sad because I couldn't tell that, which I mean, maybe she's a good actress, but I feel like a lot of people in society and a lot of people nowadays too try and fit themselves into these molds to stand out or to fit in or to feel a part of society in a way. And I feel like we have to break the fucking molds because at the end of the day, we're all human, we're all different, we're all unique, we all have different things going for us. So why are we trying to like fit ourselves into this mold? And the fact that her team back then was trying to fit her into this mold, like I get it in a sense, like, okay, this is what we're doing in the industry, this is how the industry works. But at the end of the day, like, I feel like everyone wants to be the most authentic, genuine self that they can be. And it sucks to be thrown into that so young because you also don't really understand why people are trying to change you. And that kind of sticks with you throughout life. Like when you're 12 versus 18, like if I don't fit in, am I supposed to change myself to fit in? Like those type of things. So that stuck out with me. Chapter 4, If the Shoe Fits. This part stuck out to me. As I got older and living in Los Angeles slowly shed more and more of its novelty, I started growing frustrated. The city that I'd romanticized for years gradually began revealing its darker side to me. Fancy events lost their luster, fake friends weeded their way out of my life, and I started feeling even more at odds with my career. I didn't understand why at the time, just that it always felt uncomfortable to sing songs that someone else wrote for me, that going on stage and performing them in front of an audience didn't feel right. I started putting more and more distance between myself and the Madison Beer image being put on display for the public. At times, I felt embarrassed of it. Shortly after the release of my first single, Melodies, I went back to Long Island to go to a friend's birthday. It was amazing to be back home for a week or two with familiar faces, but at the party I felt a huge shift for the first time. In LA, I had been recognized and asked for photos a handful of times, but I guess in my head, Long Island felt like home, the place where I'm Madison and nothing else. Minutes after walking in, so many people I hadn't seen in years just came up to me taking selfies, asking questions. At first it was fun, I enjoyed the attention I was receiving. When someone took over the music and started playing my song over the speakers, I shrank. It felt like I was Alice and I was getting smaller by the second while everyone around me pointed and laughed. I ran out hysterical. That made me so fucking sad because kids are fucking mean. Like kids are mean, kids scare the shit out of me. Like even nowadays, kids scare me. Like I always think that when kids are laughing, like they're making fun of me in some way. And for someone to be at the beginning of their career, just happy to go home and like see their friends from childhood and everything, and to have them basically ridicule you. And I don't think it was done in a malicious way because kids are going to be kids. Like even for my YouTube channel, like when I worked at a retail part-time job, people would play my videos on a fucking computer, and it really made me feel embarrassed. And like she said, like it shrunk me and I literally just didn't want to be there anymore. So that part really stuck out with me and made me a little sad for her because I don't think we realize for child actors or child singers or anyone that's a child thrown into the industry how much of their childhood they lose, which I feel like was such a crucial part of my life. And it was low-key like the darkest times of my life, but also the part of my life where I really tried to figure out myself and grow up, and they don't get to do that. They really don't. Like, they're thrown into an industry and they have to grow up within an industry, and it's kind of fucked up if you think about it. Same chapter, I highlighted something else, and this one says, I was actively splitting my identity between the private and public spheres. For a normal teenager, choosing your college and major is the first step in solidifying a career path, which usually happens when you're around 18, still young, but with a handful of solid years to try things on for size. Meanwhile, I was barely 15 and locked into a full career, one that required a very specific personality type in order to thrive. Sometimes I had to build my identity around my career instead of the other way around. And that really fucking stuck out to me because I was like, damn, like I never thought of it like that. Like I never did, and I don't really know anyone like close to me that's in the industry that like from such a young age. So to realize like, yeah, fuck, like they are really growing up in the industry, and like their personality is based off of a lot of what other people are telling them to do and telling them to be. So when do you like really know who you are? Like you probably don't. You probably fucking don't. And then for chapter 5, mob mentality, she wrote, realizing very young that women and men are treated so differently when it comes to being sexual is a tough pill to swallow, especially when it's made so public. From so young, I was made to feel like I wasn't interesting enough on my own, that all men would ever want from me was sex. Objectified from the start, I was being taught to lean into it, only confirming what I'd already internalized in early childhood. I've never spoken about what I am about to say publicly, and even though I have so much to say about it, the reason it's not a major topic in this book is because I'm still learning to be patient with myself and put my healing first. It is not a part of my story that deserves to be ignored, but I don't think I'm ready to go into too much detail. I was sexually assaulted as a child, and then again between 14 and 15 years old at a party in LA. The trauma from those incidents still affects me daily. I believe it will be a part of me forever. It makes me so sad because even nowadays, Madison, as a like, I know there's more, but we're just gonna focus on her since it's her book, is sexualized every fucking where. Everywhere I see her, on TikTok, on Instagram, wherever the fuck, like everyone is sexualizing her or commenting on her body in very vulgar ways. It's fucked up because if roles were reversed, we obviously know that it's not the same for a man. And the fact that she was sexually assaulted at such a young age, even if she, like, not even that, like, it's fucked up because I don't know how to say this. She was sexually assaulted at such a young age, and it does travel with you through everything. And this makes me so sad because she didn't talk about it for a while, which of course I understand. But at the end of the day, like, this shit needs to stop. And I know it's never going to stop. But it sucks. And then being sexualized everywhere you go, knowing at the back of your head you were sexually assaulted as well, I feel like that's such a traumatic time that just doesn't go away. And I don't know, it broke my heart a little bit reading about it. Chapter 6, It's Not Me, It's You. This is about when her nudes got leaked. She said, I felt like my life was over. All I could think about was the internet safety lesson in middle school, where our librarian sat our class down and warned us about the dangers of the internet, making us believe that if we posted anything inappropriate, like tweeting about being drunk, or future employers would see and wouldn't want to hire us. That was laughable compared to this. If you don't know, her nudes were leaked when I think she was like 16, she said, or 15, by, like, no one really knows, to be honest, but her nudes were leaked, and no one got in trouble, and basically the whole fucking internet, I remember this, the whole internet blamed her, the whole internet victimized, not, like, they did not say she was the victim. They basically were like, this is your fault because you sent nudes. But at the end of the day, I feel like so many people have done that and so many people have not been leaked. And at the end of the day, the person who leaked them should be the one held accountable because you are leaking something that someone sent to you in a privacy matter, in a private manner. So it's your fault. How are we blaming the people that sent it to someone in confidence, having their privacy invaded? How are we blaming them, but not blaming the person that sent them out without their consent? Like, hello? Like, that, like, pisses me the fuck off because I feel like if roles were reversed and this was Madison leaking someone's nudes, the whole fucking universe would turn on her. But the fact that it was her nudes that were leaked, it was like, it's your fault. I think we need to do better. We need more safety laws, like, around this, and teach your kids to do better. Okay, thank you. Okay, Blessing in Disguise, chapter 7. She says, no matter how amazing and gratifying it was, I had lost a large chunk of my childhood to this. I was forced to watch all my best hometown friends grow closer and start high school without me. I gave up a normal school experience, life moments like prom and homecoming, and all the summers I begged to go back to camp, but never found the time. Going home meant I could regain some of my normalcy I lost. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't appealing. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of this. Like, you lose so much of your childhood that I don't think we realize it. Like, the crucial years of your life are gone and you can't do anything about it. And it's not like something that you can get back. It's not like, okay, like, I didn't go to driving school, I could do that when I'm older. Like, you can't get your childhood back. I don't know if that was a bad comparison, but you cannot get your childhood back. And like I said, like, those are such crucial years to growing up and discovering yourself and figuring out yourself. It sucks that, like, you can't get it back. And like, I understand, like, she had like a different childhood that was a little bit more out there, more opportunities than the normal kid because she was thrown into the industry. But it does suck that you don't have your childhood. And a lot of people have spoken about this. For example, like Justin Bieber, who I also adore, he's spoken out about it a lot, that he just wanted to be a normal kid and he felt like he lost a lot of his childhood, which is so sad. And then everyone's like, oh, like, this is like part of the industry, whatever. Okay, it is. But they could still feel bad about it. Like, just because you're in the industry doesn't mean you can't feel bad about losing a big chunk of your life. You can still dwell on it. That's that. Chapter 8, Inner Child. One of the biggest changes in my thinking that helped me develop my own self-worth outside of social media was figuring out where I was getting my validation from. Once it was clear to me that I couldn't keep on depending on other people to tell me who my true self was, that any praise would never be permanent and sustainable, I was lost on what to do. It was a long process and it's something I'm still working on, but now I've learned the best way to find stability is by keeping a safe distance between myself and the comments made about me by others, online or in real life. I need to be a whole person, secure in who I am, completely independent of whether or not anyone else loves or hates me. I can't let myself be shaken either way. Madison is dragged through the fucking mud online all the time, and there's a part of me that literally wants to fight everyone. Like, if you ask my friends, like, I'm ready to fight these people. But at the end of the day, like, that's what they want. They want attention. But who gives them the fucking right to say this shit? Like, some of the shit I've read, guys, like, I don't even know how someone typed that fucking shit up and clicked send or tweet or whatever the fuck. Like, I do not know. I don't know how people have it in them. Like, when I'm like fake mean to people sometimes, like when you joke around with your friends and like you're low-key mean, like, I feel fucking bad. So I don't know how people type up shit like kill yourself or you're not deserving of this, fake trash, like shit like that, like plastic like, I don't know how people type shit up that is so fucking vulgar and mean and send it without feeling an ounce of bad or like, I don't know. If you know, please tell me, because I cannot wrap my head fucking around it. Like, just shut the fuck up and move on with your life. Thank you. It makes me so mad. Like, I can go on, but I can't. I'm gonna like start yelling up in here. From High Tides, chapter 9, I highlighted a part where she says, do you really want to die, or do you just want to be somewhere else, somewhere kinder? Or if I was given a magic wand that could fix all the pain, would I still want to be gone? The answer was no. That really hits as someone who, when I was a few years younger, like, suicide and like disappearing was something that was on my mind constantly. And now I'm happy that I'm here, but in a way, like, I very much relate to her when she talks about wanting to just be in a kinder place. I just feel like I was bullied a lot when I was younger, online and in person, and I didn't really wrap my head around it. And I always like blamed myself, and I was always like, I didn't really have that many like close friends either growing up that I could talk to about this. And a lot of the times I was like, I don't want to be like fully gone, but I want to be gone, if that makes sense. And like reading that in her words was kind of healing, and because I was like, okay, like someone else gets it, someone else relates to that. But it sucks at the same time, like hearing someone else that you like, that you love and think the world of, feel that way too. So if you're someone who is sitting here right now and you have like those thoughts, just know that the world is a better place with you in it, and a lot of people would be very sad if you left, even if you think that they wouldn't be. They would. So stick around a little longer for us. Guys, also, I fucking cried like a baby reading this book. So anyways, chapter 10, Work in Progress. She writes about her addiction to Xanax. So I did not know that was a thing in her life. And when I read it, I was shocked and hurt for her because I know so many fucking people in the industry are, and even not in the industry, get addicted to Xanax, and it is hard to get off of it. It's hard to get out of any addiction. So I'm very proud of her for working on that. But it was sad to read because I didn't know. As mentioned earlier, I was extremely addicted to Xanax. A friend had given me a bar at a sleepover after a night of running around LA. I was instantly hooked. I loved this strange numbness, a slight detachment for the world. I kept that a secret. This dependency was only growing and it wasn't something I was proud of. Instead of helping me regulate my emotions, Xanax kept me too numb. I became completely addicted to it and began majorly abusing it. I lost my appetite, slept constantly, and struggled to focus. But I believed it was better than being able to feel all the raw pain of my lowest points. I wasn't experiencing the true extent of happiness either, but I was at such a low that I didn't care. I wanted to be numb. I'd sacrifice true happiness if it meant avoiding true sadness. Don't get me wrong, medicine, even Xanax in many cases, is great and helpful and truly does work. I have so many friends whose lives here have been saved because of it. But for me, the Xanax did the opposite of what it was supposed to do. I went to therapy less and less because I thought the medicine would be enough. It wasn't working with me, it was working against me. I used it as a crutch, using the side effects as a band-aid over a wound much deeper. I told my psychiatrist and my therapist that I felt better, but the people around me started to notice just how different I was acting. What's up with you? I frowned at my brother. I'd invited him and his friends over to my apartment, but I was regretting it already. They were loud and rowdy and overwhelming. It was still early in the day, but I already wanted to crawl back into bed, put on a movie, and sleep. You're acting weird, he looked at me, narrowing his eyes, and I shrank back into my place on the couch, as if he was somehow reading my mind. Are you on drugs? No, I scoffed, rolling my eyes. God, no, I'm just tired. No, Matt, I'm serious, he shook his head. It's not just today, it's like all the fucking time now. It's like the thing that makes you Madison is gone. Like you're a zombie. I'm sorry. Like reading this, like, also just makes me like, I tensed hearing that from one of the most important people in my life was like a punch in the gut. We'd grown up together. If there's one person who's known me at every single stage of my life, every high and low, it's him, and he was right. Reading that made me so sad because sometimes you like, whether you're addicted to Xanax or you're going through it, you kind of like make yourself believe that no one notices or no one cares to notice. And I'm very happy that her brother did notice because that is essentially what helped her get off of it and helped her get clean and like, you know, not be addicted to it anymore, or like try to not be addicted to it anymore. But it just reminds me, yeah, like we make ourselves think that people don't give a fuck or people don't notice that we're going through it when people really do. And I'm happy that her brother spoke up about it, because a lot of people just wouldn't, and they just like throw it under the rug and be like, whatever, like they'll figure it out. So I'm really happy that her brother did speak up about it because it's a very fucking serious thing. Chapter 11, The Road Not Taken, I highlighted, we're living in a world that's constantly in flux, and a lot of us feel scared of the future. But I try to make that all the reason more to look after myself. With so many things working against me and my body, I can't afford to let myself be one of them. I think this one really hit me because I was like, when she said we're living in a world that's constantly in flux and a lot of us feel scared of the future, I am 100% one of those people. Like, I'm always thinking about the future. I'm always thinking about what's going to happen, where I'm going to be, who's going to be in my life, like all these things. And I just need to live in the fucking present. And I say this to myself all the time. And if you listen to my podcast and you've been a like follower of this channel, like, you know that I always say, like, I need to be more present. I'm always living in the past or the future. So reading that, I was like, damn, like, she's right. Like, I need to be there for myself now and not in the future. I need to just be like present and here for me now. So I'm trying, but it's really fucking difficult. In chapter, I think it's the same chapter actually. I've had people I considered friends take sneaky pictures of me when they thought I wasn't looking. I once had a therapist disclose private information about me to their other clients. Sometimes when I meet people, they'll have their phones hidden, trying to be discreet, but I always know when I'm being secretly recorded, even if the person is pretending not to know who I am. In those cases, I know it's not done with bad intentions, but it still puts me in an odd position. In short, people I've trusted over and over betrayed that trust. And the more it happened, the more I started to alter the way I went about daily life. I'm not exaggerating when I say it. My wires are brain and thought patterns. I cannot even imagine having the thought of someone recording you 24/7 or being in the public eye 24/7 and having your therapist disclose private information about you to other people. Like, what the fuck? Like, I hope that they reported this therapist and like that they lost their license, because that's absolutely disgusting. No matter who you are, whether you're a famous client or not a famous client, disclosing private information is the most fucked up thing you can ever do. And it makes me so sad that her like trust was impaired and her trust was violated. And what the fuck happened to, like, what happened to client confidentiality? I believe that's how you say it. Like, what happened? Like, hello? And that makes me sad. But I also know what she means by having your trust broken over and over, because I trust way too fucking hard sometimes. And when your trust is violated and it's broken, it's fucking, it sucks. And then it's hard for you to trust people again. And you want to let people in. And then when you finally do, your trust gets broken again. So love that. So in this chapter, the same one, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's really long. But she talks about a night where she was working all day and she was tired and she just wanted to sleep. So she went to her pill cabinet and took pills and then felt very loopy and out of it. And she called her best friend up, who is Lena, who I don't even know her, but I adore her from just knowing about her through Madison and then reading about her in this book. I'm so glad that they found each other, because I do believe that Lena helped Madison tremendously. But anyways, so she called Lena, and her boyfriend was there, and she was saying that like she didn't know what was happening and she felt like out of it and everything. They ended up calling 911. So paramedics came, and Madison was just more terrified about the fact that people would find out about this and have it in the headlines more than her health, honestly. And that just makes me sad that her brain was so trained to be like, what is the media going to say, rather than, am I going to die? Like, you know what I mean? She didn't end up going to the hospital, and she kind of realized how selfish that was at the end of the day. But it just makes you realize that, damn, like, she really was so concerned about how it would be perceived in the media rather than her own health, which is really sad. And that stuck out to me when reading this. Chapter 12, Glass Houses. She wrote, social media has rewired our brains. It sounds like an exaggeration, but it's true. And it is absolutely fucking true. A lot of my insecurities and a lot of my anxieties and depressions stem from the use of social media or seeing social media. A lot of my body image issues, my body dysmorphia has gotten tremendously worse because of social media. And we don't really realize that or acknowledge that as much as we should. But social media definitely has rewired our brains. And when I read that, I was like, she is so right. Now here, she wrote, just because you can comment, that doesn't mean you should. If you didn't get anything out of this book, that is the one thing that you should fucking get. Because like I was saying before, I feel like people always have fucking things to say when they aren't asked. And at the end of the day, like, no one fucking asked for your opinion. No one asked for you to talk about shit. No one asked you to talk about shit. No one fucking asked you. So if you have nothing fucking nice to say, just fucking think it in your brain and don't fucking post it online for other people to critique it and to agree with it. Because you don't know how fucking painful it could be to read these things, especially for myself, for example, when I have body image issues. I have body image issues. I have body dysmorphia. I struggle with like body stuff. And I remember I got this one comment on my YouTube video once, and it was like something around their lines like, you gained weight, like you look bigger. And I don't think that person realized how much it affected me, because it spiraled me down like this rabbit hole. And that person, I didn't even know them. So why the fuck, this video was nothing about body or anything. It was literally like a vlog. And that comment stuck, and it stuck with me then, and it still sticks with me now. And moral of the story is, like she said, if you have nothing fucking nice to say, just don't say it. And not everything needs an opinion, and not everyone needs to know your opinion or your thoughts. So just because you can comment doesn't mean you should. Take that and run with it and fucking understand it. I think this is the same chapter. She wrote, humans are social creatures. Throughout history, we've always lived in close-knit communities and relied on each other for protection. Whether it's through blood family or chosen family or a mixture of both, we need each other to survive. Sometimes that's difficult to admit. I struggled the most when I thought I was supposed to do everything alone. Even if we try to deny it, the people we keep close are a reflection of us. Their values, their morals, their views of the world all influence and shape you too. As I matured, I had to look at a lot of people in my life and think, you know what? I don't think I like the person I am around you. I know cutting off friends is easier said than done, and friend breakups can be just as hard, if not harder, than romantic ones. I believe that everyone is fighting their own battles, so maybe just before cutting all the ties with someone you care about, try to work through the issue. Maybe your perspectives are different. Maybe they didn't know how you were feeling. I personally believe this is the best step to seeing who even deserves your friendship in the first place. A true friend will work through it with you, or at least try. Others will not, and that is okay. I think that's super important. Realizing that not everyone needs to be your friend, not everyone needs your time. And at the end of the day, if you're having a feeling, or if you're feeling some sort of way, or whatever the fuck, and this specific friend doesn't want to work through it or talk about it, then you don't need them. And not everyone needs to be in your life, and not everyone is meant to be in your life for a long time. Sometimes you got to reevaluate the people in your life. And when she said that the people closest to us are a reflection of us, I truly believe that. And whenever someone gives me a bad vibe, or whenever someone is just not someone that I want to surround myself with or be like associated with, they're gone. Like, easy as that. Like, they're gone. This part she wrote, everyone deserves a true friend, even if it's only one person. I've always loved the saying, 4 quarters are better than 100 pennies. Apply this to your life. Remember, you are worthy of love and true friendship in the first place. You have to be your own best friend. It starts there. And I think that was really key. A lot of my life, I just didn't like myself, and I just tried to find happiness within other people and within other friendships and everything. And at the end of the day, like, you have to love yourself, and you have to be your own friend before you can bring in these people into your life. And I think I'm in a better place with that. But I think friendships are key, and everyone should have at least one good friendship. She speaks about my favorite song called Homesick. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see it clear, but I have a necklace. And I have a tattoo here. I don't think you can see it. Whatever. Okay. It's my favorite song ever. She said, during one of the meet and greets, a teary-eyed fan told me how much my song Homesick meant to them, how it was the only song they'd listened to since their father passed away, and how it helped them make it through. It's hard for me to wrap my head around something like that sometimes. I'm who someone turns to in such a hard and devastating time. Why me? I was incredibly moved, but at first I was confused why they mentioned Homesick. It wasn't one of my more popular songs, and when I wrote it, it was about my own isolation, how I didn't feel I fit in on this planet, and was homesick for a different world. This song is one of the most precious songs to me. And it's true, it was not one of the popular songs on the album at all, but it just goes to show how music can connect with people in such different ways, because it meant so much to me, not because of like the person she was writing about their father passing away. To me, it was more so like, I've always felt like I didn't belong anywhere, and I didn't feel like I always had like a good group of people around me, or people that related to me, and I always felt like I just belonged somewhere else. And that's how that song struck me. And it just goes to show how beautiful music is, and it's such a universal thing, because everyone interprets lyrics differently. But I love that she spoke about that song, because it's my absolute favorite song in the entire world, and I loved it. Okay, in chapter 14 called Drink Me, she wrote, as I've grown, I've stepped into myself and learned how to pick my battles. I felt like Alice in Wonderland, chugging the Drink Me bottle, and suddenly being 30 feet tall, growing into my voice and my power. I don't have anything to relate to that, because I still feel like shrunk in this world, and I don't like to speak up about anything. But I thought it was such a cool reference to Alice in Wonderland, and like the correlation between it. And I'm just proud of her for being able to like step into her own and like really direct her visions and stand up for what she believes in. So good for you. Happy for you. Even though I don't think she's gonna watch this, but happy for you. She also wrote, when we're young, we don't really understand that our parents are human too. And I think that's something that I'm kind of unraveling now. Like, sometimes I think about it and I'm like, yeah, like my parents are fucking humans too. And they have feelings that maybe they can relate to me in some ways, maybe they don't. But I think that's just something important to remember, that your parents are humans as well. And they don't know everything, even though sometimes they make you think that they know everything. They don't. They don't. They do not. Okay, this was actually super cool, because she spoke about her music video for Reckless, which is an amazing song. Go stream it. It's on her next album. And she was speaking about how there was this water tank that she was supposed to swim in that ended up bursting, and they had to switch and go film in her pool at her house. And one of the guys was like, you're lucky, because if that like exploded while you were in it, like you would have been dragged down. And this just makes me think that things are meant to happen, and that at the end of the day, like, things always work out for the better. And it's just also so scary to think like, oh my god, like she could have been drowned in that. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that was wild to me to hear. And then the last sentence in her book, she wrote, I hope you're reminded that everyone has a story that you just haven't read yet. Thank you for reading some of mine. And that just wrapped it up for me. And I was like, wow, like, it's so true. Like, sometimes, even before reading this, sometimes I literally am just like people watching and I'm like, wow, like these people all have stories. They all have things that they're going through. They all have these whole ass lives. And I don't even know them and they're just like living on their day. And then the same for me, like they can look at me and be like, wow, like this person has a whole life that I know nothing about. So at the end of the day, just be kind to everyone, be nice to everyone, don't comment when you don't need to. And yeah, she's been through so much, like we said, with the sexual assault, with her news being leaked, with growing up in an industry that is so against you at times, by being sexualized as a woman, by having BPD. We didn't really go into that because I feel like this video is so long already, but she does have BPD, which is a borderline personality disorder. And it is a disorder that you kind of is like given to you. How do you say it? Like you're not born with it. It's developed over years of trauma and difficult situations. But there is so much more that I can dive into this book, but I think like I would just have to read it from front to back to you, which we cannot be doing on the like we cannot be doing that. But she has an audiobook on it. She has physical books. I urge you to go read it. I urge you to go read more of her story. I just shared a few of the things that I think stood out to me, but there's so much more in the book, and I do want to read it again. I want to have the audio version next. But all this to say that she is, like I said, the kindest, purest soul that has been through so fucking much, and she's always dragged through the fucking mud on the internet that needs to absolutely stop. I just hope that we as humans can grow to be kinder, nicer people, and really hear people out and hear their stories, and just remember that everyone has their own difficulties, everyone is going through their own things, and we should just be kind as human beings. So go buy yourself The Half of It by Madison. I don't know if I said this before, but it was the most painful, heartbreaking, but healing read. And to know that one of my favorite people in the entire world went through some similar things that I went through made me feel a lot less alone and made me feel a lot less crazy in a way. Because sometimes I go through things and I'm like, I'm fucking crazy. Like, no one else feels this, no one else goes through this. And to read it in her own words and knowing that she went through that as well is healing in a way. And I'm just very proud of her for putting her story out there and sharing it with the world. So go check out the book, go support her, go buy it, go read it, and really just get to know her and get to understand her more. Because she is much more than just a pretty face like the whole fucking media always says. She is, like I said, one of the kindest, smartest human beings I've ever had the privilege to come across. And I sometimes am like, wow, like I am so blessed to be alive in the same lifetime as her. So yeah, anyways, if you're ready to cry, go read the book. Yeah. If you read the book, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know your favorite parts, the parts that stuck out to you the most. And if Madison, by chance, is watching this, I'm very proud of you and thank you for being vulnerable and opening up and sharing a part of your story. I'm sure there's so much more that you haven't shared yet, and I know you will when the time is right. But thank you for letting us in a little bit more. And there is a part in the Target exclusive about Lena, who is her best friend, who was actually a kind of fan account for her. I think that is one of the biggest blessings that she's ever gained. And I absolutely love their friendship, even though Lena is a very private person, so do not go try and search her up or anything. I think that they're meant to find each other, and that makes me very happy. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling because this video is way too fucking long. But thank you again for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.